Nautilus, first atomic submarine, launches a new era in naval history. Mrs. Dwight Eisenhower arrives for the ceremonies. The First Lady, momentarily distracted, must swing quickly to christen the underseas giant. Majestically, the fabulous submarine slides down the ways. Built at a cost of $50 million, she will be able to circle the globe in 29 days without resurfacing on a few nuggets of uranium. Her torpedoes can be mounted with atomic warheads, and she can operate at depths which would crush the conventional submarine. The 300-foot, 3,000-ton Nautilus will also have a speed of better than 20 knots underwater. The age of atomic navies is born. The tower on which Britain will explode her second atom bomb rises stark above the Australian desert. Cameramen at the testing site wait tensely, then... Photographed from 13 miles away, the familiar atomic mushroom pours its deadly cloud of radioactive vapor toward the sky. Scientists term the test a complete success, another milestone in the atomic age.
Within the last 2 years, more than 20 of these awesome blasts have echoed across the desolate Nevada desert. Interwoven throughout the story of the tests at Yucca Flats is a second story, the role played by the United States Air Force. 2 Air Force sniffer planes fall the assignment of invading the atomic cloud to gather specimens of radioactive particles for analysis by nuclear scientists. The sniffers carry filter traps mounted on the wings and fuselage during their cloud sampling missions. Their crews do a job considered impossible a few years ago. Today, advanced techniques permit the men to stay inside the radioactive cloud for a time without harm. Other Air Force experiments probe the effects of the blinding atomic light on the eyes of aircraft crewmen. Many types of goggles and protective lenses are tested. The volunteers will look directly at the fierce fireball flare of the atomic burst. Quickly, the men turn to instruments which record the effects of the searing flash. The tests go on. Aircraft, some obsolete, some new, are staked out at various angles from the blast, for we must learn how to protect our fighters and bombers. Special cameras in slow motion record each fraction of a second as the aircraft disintegrate under the shattering impact of this powerful force for destruction. From these films, the Air Force adds new pages to its knowledge and mastery of atomic warfare. Now, at a closely guarded airstrip, the most dangerous mission of all is about to begin. A B-50 waits to be loaded. For security reasons, the screen must be partially blacked out as an atom bomb is raised into position under the eyes of the supervising engineer. In the plane, codenamed Rosebud, 3 men share a heavy responsibility. The pilot, the radar navigator, and the bombardier. The target is that X 6 miles below. You're about to see the closest shot of an atom bomb blast yet released for public view. This is the story of America's ever-expanding atomic weapons program. This, within security limits, is the role played by the Air Force. Now for civil defense, another realistic test is held. In a two-story house on Main and Elm Streets, a mannequin family waits, 3,500 feet from atomic destruction. They're lifeless dummies, but to the civil defense officials testing bomb shelters, they could help save lives. A second home stands a mile away. America is seeking through these drills to strengthen home front defenses, for their strength means our safety. Dozens of cars are on the streets of the ghost hamlet in Nevada. And marching to within 2 miles of the blast center, 1,500 GIs take cover in slit trenches, closer to an atomic explosion than any human being since Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Blast's blinding flash silhouettes observers 7 miles away. Then its ugly mushroom cloud swirls skyward. Within an hour, the dirt-caked troops, all safe, have abandoned their foxholes and are pushing through a veil of dust as GIs pointing Geiger counters lead the way. The closest house is leveled by the blast, equal to 15,000 tons of TNT, but small as A-bombs go. The second building, 7,500 feet from the explosion, still stands. Although protected by every device known to atomic scientists, troops are unable to penetrate to the blast center for many hours because of the deadly radioactive contamination shrouding the area. Val Peterson, Civil Defense Director, warns us to prepare, for this could be your house and your window. Here again, the atomic blast. 3,500 feet away, a split second later, past one of the cars exposed to the atomic fury, a civil defense official finally is able to reach the rubble of the two-story house we just saw topple. Almost unbelievably, mannequins in the basement bomb shelter are found to be unharmed. The second house seems to have suffered comparatively minor damage. Windows have been blown in. All Americans must work together, for the stronger our home front defense is, the less the chance an atomic attack will come.
Remember how you used to love homemade fudge? Today, hardly anyone makes fudge, but Kraft's good cooks make fudgies, chocolate and vanilla, and they taste homemade because Kraft makes them the way you would, with pure sugar. Kraft fudgies are creamy smooth and rich, so good kids love them, and so pure they're just the kind of candy you want children to have. Remember, your shopping isn't done till you get some food for fun. Take home Kraft fudgies, good like all Kraft foods.
At 16, Jack Wilson started on his first truck driving job. The year was 1930. Times were tough, and riding a truck was rough. In 35, times improved, but that truck ride was still the same. In 43, Jack went to Europe. Driving a truck was the same, sometimes even hazardous. By 50, Jack was home and had started his own trucking business. But that old truck ride still seemed the same. One day, Jack got mad.
Why don't they make a truck that rides like a car?
So Chevrolet did, with the new 1960 torsion spring ride that's almost as smooth as a Chevrolet car. Notice how Chevy trucks with new independent torsion spring front suspension absorb rough road shock. And this beauty is easier than ever to load, with lots of cab room for driver comfort. From road to roof, the 1960 Chevrolet trucks are years ahead of any others in durability, and they haul loads faster. Where rough roads used to slow trucks down, a 1960 Chevrolet truck today will haul more, make more for you. They're all new and all trucks. At your Chevrolet dealers now.
No matter how bumpy or lumpy, or jumpy the road. The driver rides easy, and so does the load. Everything smooths right out as never before. With the all-new, brand-new 1960 Chevrolet trucks.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
Can death be outwitted? Is the secret of eternal life just around that corner? Today, medical science patches up mutilated bodies, transplanting human skin, eyes, limbs, even vital organs. Is the next step the transplantation of the human brain? Many scientists answer yes, but they pause and add a grim warning. For in the ancient folk legends, tales are told of blood-sucking vampires, crawling out of graves to live on the bodies of helpless victims. Is man now doomed to produce a race of ever-living monstrosities, worse than the vampires of legend? Will ruthless men and women of great wealth and power greedily buy or steal the living bodies of the young and beautiful, so their brains may live on forever? Such questions may seem fanciful, but at this very moment, scientists are working on the answer to brain transplantation, and human bodies are used. This girl was buried in a nearby cemetery yesterday. Only a few hours ago, her body was stolen. By Dr. Otto Frank, and brought to this hidden laboratory. He has grafted a living animal's brain into this newly dead body. If the experiment works, the next step will be the transplantation of a human brain. The brain cells are being reactivated by an atomic fission produced in the cyclotron. Has he found the way to outwit death? Or has he created another? Deep below, Dr. Frank takes the chance of smashing his way into a newly sealed vault. His experiments cannot continue without another body. The watchman's mind was not on body snatchers, just his usual nip. Inside the vault, a body waits. This is one of the doctor's mistakes, a monstrosity. An animal's brain grafted to a human body. Leaving the dead watchman, the monstrosity carried the girl's body out of the vault. It fears and obeys one master, Dr. Frank. Here beneath the old mansion, the doctor carefully prepared for another transplant. This body had been in the vault for only a few hours. Chances seemed better this time. Still, Dr. Frank was doubtful. Tissue in dead bodies deteriorates rapidly. Where were the live, fresh bodies he'd been promised? He bitterly resents that every step forward depends on the whim of a miserly old woman brooding upstairs in her bedroom. And Hetty March wonders. Has she been a fool, squandering money on this strange experiment? Money hoarded through a long, greedy lifetime, each day more money, each day death getting closer. Ah, but to start life again in a brand new body, beautiful and young, no price can be too high for that. Can she really trust the doctor? Can she really trust anyone? Hasn't everyone tried to cheat her? Wanting her money while they smiled at her ugliness? But they never got a penny. Oh, how she made them sweat. Especially this old fool, companion and gigolo. How many years she's kept him dangling on promises. Well, sometimes it's convenient to have a man, especially when he comes cheaper than servants.
That the Austrian girl?
Lionel Rhodes, 18, no family, pleasing personality, whatever that might mean. Thick ankles, pimply face, but she always smiles when she's spoken to, very likely.
Well, application forms for a servant girl don't usually include bust, waist, and hip measurements. All three will be here tomorrow, and then you can choose.
Early this evening at Greenhaven Cemetery, the body snatchers brutally murdered night watchman Robert Payne, 62, who evidently interrupted his killers during their ghoulish task. His neck was broken. The imprint of a huge pair of hands was found on his throat. It's the opinion of the police that the same gang that has previously...
Ring for Dr. Frank. So that's what he was doing.
More of it, hocus pocus, Hetty.
The doctor transplanted a brain from a live dog to a dead human body. You saw the creature walk out of that cylinder alive.
How many failures since then? Still, it's your money. The bodies must be fresh. This specimen is excellent.
And the police are looking for the body snatcher.
Why the local cemetery, Doctor? Are you trying to blaze a trail to our door?
The final test was essential for your protection. As for the police, if they come here, I hit this switch, a nuclear reaction is set off. Close the circuit breaker, and in a matter of minutes, this house and any evidence it might contain becomes a radioactive hole in the ground.
Be careful.
But we can wait for that until after your operation.
Well, nothing must go wrong. There's no sign of life.
Watch. lacks but one thing. The brain. Pons was still living when he was dragged from that red car. That's why we succeeded with the transplant.
She seems alive.
She is, to a limited extent. She'll be able to move around, but the brain deterioration is too extensive for thought processes.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Many years ago, this was our town, USA. Our family and neighbors lived in the most beautiful land that man would ever see. One day, some tourists stopped by on their way west. They were as excited about our beautiful location as we were. A little too excited. In fact, they were thoughtless and wasteful. They just didn't seem to know the rules about living in the forest. Well, before long it happened. A wildfire destroying everything in its path. And within a few minutes, our beautiful home was gone. 100 years have passed. Times have changed. But some people haven't. Their carelessness still causes more than 90,000 forest fires every year.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Who will be next to launch Man in Space?
Me!
And so can you with Deluxe Man in Space set. You get a rocket launcher, defense base, and 3 different nose cones. Up goes the astronaut to the top of the launcher. The gantry moves in. The space capsule is locked on the mighty Atlas rocket. Blast off! There he goes! Man in space! Enemy bombers approaching. Flash the alert. Open fire!
Deluxe Man in Space, complete with missile base. With astronaut and satellite, you send them into flight. 3, 2, 1, fire! Deluxe Man in Space.
Wow, what a toy! Deluxe Man in Space is sold only at food markets.
The chance of your being hurt by an atomic bomb is slight. But since there is a chance, you must know how to protect yourself. To protect yourself, you have to know what the bomb does. Besides blast, there's radioactivity and heat. Can we protect ourselves from these? These children are protected. Concrete walls help stop radioactivity. Any wall stops the heat. The heat scorches the house, but does not harm the children. Any solid gives some protection. The thicker it is, the better. We have the national defenses to intercept an enemy, and we all form a team to help each other through emergencies. You are on that team. So is your family, each member of it. And in your community, every doctor, fireman, every policeman and nurse, every lineman and operator, every civil defense worker. In fact, every community employee is ready to help you if you need him. So your community is prepared for emergencies and ready to help other communities. We have state and national headquarters for civil defense. And your city has a civil defense corps. We have a warning system and a system of defense. Yes, we have the equipment and the people for an effective team. But, like any team, it can win only when everyone knows his job and does it well. What is your job? What if a warning siren sounds? What should you do? Look for cover, the nearest cover. Don't try to make it home unless home is the nearest place to go. Don't hesitate. Find cover. Everyone is in on this. Strangers will understand. Finding shelter quickly may save your life. If you can't get into a house, get behind a wall or a steep embankment on the side away from the city. Civil defense teams will go into action immediately. If you're home, you've work to do.
Hi, Susie. Everything's fine upstairs. How you doing here?
Okay, I guess.
That's good.
We repeat, cover windows to protect against the possibility of broken glass, heat, and radioactivity. Turn off fires. If you are home and are not assigned to civil defense duties, go to your prepared shelter. Those who are in shopping centers, go to prepared shelters
Well, fire in the kitchen's out. Now we'll go down the basement.
In this practice alert, we are assuming that the attack will come on the waterfront area.
See, it's just practice. All this rushing around for nothing.
Now, there's just where you're wrong. We need this practice. Now, come on, let's do our job.
That's good thinking. We all need practice. Here's a clean, well-prepared shelter in the basement. Ted and Sue have a battery radio, and they have soda ash and stirrup pump fire extinguishers. They have other emergency supplies, too. A flashlight, a well-equipped first aid kit with plenty of bandages, tape, and scissors. A Red Cross first aid book, a few cans of food, a good supply of water, blankets, and an electric lantern in reserve.
You know, Susie, this stuff would come in handy on a camping trip.
I'd a lot rather be on a camping trip. Say, what would we do if we didn't have a basement?
At school, they told us we should be away from windows and behind double walls. You know, like an inside hall.
Ted's right. If you live in an apartment house, you can't all go to the basement. Head for a shelter area. If none is marked for you, find cover away from windows and in a hallway if possible. Wait for the all clear. Be calm. If you're on the playground, run for shelter. If you're in the schoolyard, get into the building. Move quickly, but in good order. Inside, go to the shelter area you've been assigned. Take your place on the floor. Here's one good way to protect your eyes and neck in case of a bombing. Wait for the all clear. So far, you've been watching a practice drill. But what if there is a bombing that comes without warning? What is your job then? Find cover immediately. Don't look at the flash. Stretch out. In about 1 minute, the immediate danger is past. Then head for safer cover. Another bomb may fall. Get indoors if you can. Shed your outer garments. They may have radioactive particles on them. If you're home, take shelter and stay down for about 1 minute. By then, the danger from radioactivity, heat, and blast have passed. Protect your eyes and neck.
Let's get things shut up.
Sue found shelter under her bed.
Dead. Let's get the battery set.
When the house current is off, that battery radio is essential. Keep tuned in.
The airburst of 3:01 p.m. was zeroed on Union Station. Heavy damage extends from about 14th Street north to as far south as the waterfront.
You know, we're lucky. That blast was miles
Stay
from there.
under cover unless you have civil defense to... I've just been handed a bulletin. There's been an underwater burst at the waterfront. Water thrown up by the bomb is falling as mist and rain, and it is radioactive. Avoid this radioactive mist and rain.
What does he mean by radioactive mist?
According to what Dad said, the radioactivity gets into the mist and rain. And if the mist or rain gets on you, it's apt to make you very sick.
What would you do about it?
I'd scrub thoroughly with a detergent and water.
What's a detergent?
It's something like Mom uses when she washes dishes and clothes.
Don't drink tap water. It may be contaminated.
Ted and Sue are waiting for the all clear.
I'll see who it is. Hello, who's there?
It's your block warden, Mr. Carlson.
Come on in, Mr. Carlson.
Hello, Ted.
Hello.
Ted, this is Mr. Franklin, our radiological monitor. He's here to check for any radioactivity. I saw your mother down the shopping center. She's fine. Well, there's no damage here.
No, it's been very good here.
Hello, Sue.
Say, have you seen my dad lately?
He's down at headquarters, and boy, he's really busy.
Yeah?
Well, there's no radioactivity here.
Say, Mr. Franklin, is that a pen on your coat there?
Oh, no, that's a dosimeter.
A dosimeter? What's a dosimeter?
Well, it measures the amount of radioactivity that I've been exposed to. But this is the meter that I used to check with.
Say, Mr. Carlson, is there anything I can do outside to help?
No, Ted, everything is under control. You just stay here till the all-clear signal is given. You've done a good job.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson.
Bye, Sue.
Bye.
A good job. That's what everyone must do to be safe. Doing a good job means simply following the rules in an alert or an attack, and waiting until all is clear again. In this early and troubled stage of the atomic age, our very lives may depend on always being alert.
Nice place here, son. What's your business?
Automobiles, sir. Good cars for use in...
Use is bad English, son. The word is you all. As in, you all sell automobiles at the Chevrolet dealer's OK sign. Okay?
Yes, sir. And you'll find practically all makes and models. You'll get a car with plenty of new car miles still in it. A fine car for use.
Yeah, there's that word use again, son.
Well, sir, the cars with the OK on them have so much use still in them, it's not fair to call them used cars.
Call them you-all cars, son. 'Cause they're ideal cars for you-all.
And there's a very good reason for you all to look for this OK sign right now. Your Chevrolet dealer's been selling new 60 Chevys at such a clip, he's got a whole lot full of fine use cars. And they're going at low, low prices. So head for this OK use car sign tomorrow.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.
With the knowledge of the first atomic explosions to guide us, our chances for survival will be far better than those of the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, if we act on our knowledge and are prepared. The first job is to look over your own home for shelter possibilities. If you live in a private home that is well built, the cellar is the safest place to be. The lower you get, the more barriers there are likely to be against blast, heat, and radioactivity. Select the basement wall nearest the probable target area of your city. If the house is blown over, it will most likely fall away from this wall. If you have a workbench or strong table big enough to get under, move it into your shelter area near a wall or strong supporting column. If the time comes when you actually have to take shelter, lie under the table. If you live in a home that has no basement, choose a shelter area without windows on the ground floor. An interior hallway is probably best. In time of emergency, the shelter area should be cleared of mirrors and other objects that might cause injury. If you live in an apartment house, rules for taking shelter will be posted in your building. Learn them. Also, learn the location of public shelters in areas where you work or frequently visit. There are many things you can begin doing right now. Fireproof housekeeping is one.
So clean up that attic. Keep waste in covered containers. Don't let trash pile up in the yard. Set aside a small supply of canned goods. They're safe from radioactivity. Have a good flashlight on hand. Electric lights may go out. Keep a first aid kit and learn how to stop bleeding. Make a habit of keeping a bottle of fresh water handy. A radio will be important for receiving vital instructions. Finally, prepare the shelter area and collect all necessary shelter equipment. In case of an actual raid or test drill, the alert will be a warbling siren blast lasting 3 minutes. Once you hear this, act fast. Pull down the shades or blinds and close the drapes against flying glass. Turn off the burners of your gas or electric stove. Disconnect any heating elements, such as electric irons, hot plates, or bathroom heaters. Close all outside doors, but leave them unlocked. Turn off the gas or oil burners. Taking shelter may be a race against time, even when you have some advance warning. But possibly, there may be no time. An attack could come without warning. The sky would suddenly light up. If a doorway is right at hand, use it. If the nearest shelter is more than a couple of steps away, fall to the ground immediately. Flying glass and debris are immediate dangers, so stay where you are until you're sure it's safe to move. If you are at home when a surprise attack occurs, crawl beneath a table if it is very near, or drop to the floor with your back to the window. The immediate danger is over in about a minute, unless the explosion occurred near the ground or water. In this case, radioactive materials are trapped in the particles of dirt or water thrown up by the explosion. When these particles fall back to Earth, they may be dangerous. So get indoors immediately after a ground-level explosion. Cover broken windows against radioactive dust with blankets or cardboard. Civil defense radiological teams, equipped with radiation survey meters, will check on contamination in any bombed area. Stay under cover until you hear officially that it is safe outside. If you have been exposed to radioactive dust, wash the exposed areas. Pay particular attention to your hair. Get all the dirt from under your fingernails. If the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki had known what we know about civil defense, thousands of lives would have been saved. Yes, the knowledge is ours, and preparation can mean survival for you. So act now. Someday your life may depend on it.
See what happens when a headache strikes. Look, pain mounts up. You feel dull, depressed. Tension puts nerves on edge. What do most doctors recommend? The ingredients in ANACIN. Yes, medical surveys show 3 out of 4 doctors recommend the ingredients in ANACIN. ANACIN for incredibly fast relief of pain of headache, neuritis, neuralgia. Here's why. Doctors know aspirin has only one pain reliever. Add buffering, you still get only one. But ANACIN is like a doctor's prescription. That is, a combination of ingredients to 1, relieve pain, 2, fight depression, 3, calm jittery nerves. You get fast relief of pain, fight depression, calm jittery nerves.
What wonderful relief. And ANACIN doesn't upset my stomach.
So remember, when pain strikes, aspirin, even with buffering, has only 1 pain reliever. Take ANACIN with pain relievers 3 out of 4 doctors recommend. Get ANACIN for fast relief of headache, neuritis, neuralgia.
There! That's your final lesson. Now for your first meal. Get 'em behind the knee, boy! They hate that.
Yow!
Now in the earlobe. It's tender there.
Yow!
That's my boy.
That's fun, Unc. But he said a bad word.
What's that?
Raid.
Raid?
Yes, Raid, house and garden bug killer. For both indoors and outdoors. Raid hunts bugs down like radar. Sweeps flies and mosquitoes from the air. Attacks roaches and ants as they crawl. And kills them dead. Kills all kinds of bugs indoors. Outdoors, Raid House and Garden Bug Killer wipes out insects that attack your flowering plants. Even protects evergreens. So get Raid. It smells good, but it really kills them dead. Created by Johnson's Wax.
Survival Town Atom Test measured a model village in the Nevada desert against the awesome power of nuclear energy. Buildings of various materials went up. $1 million worth of equipment was installed, including lifelike mannequins, and tons of food to measure the contamination caused by radiation. The big dolls were Survival Town's sole inhabitants. Tanks took part in their first atomic maneuvers, some less than a mile away, the closest yet in any test. Nearly 6,000 persons participated, including troops sheltered by trenches. Many cameras in many locations filmed the single blast. Wreckage in the desert held vital information on how to survive an enemy attack. With Geiger counters to check the radiation, experts assessed the damage. An aluminum building was left a gaping wreck. Concrete or cinder block houses weathered the blast best. This one was less than a mile away. Survival Town's electric wires had become a twisted, tangled mass. Demonstrating the importance of civil defense preparedness, the elaborate exercises proved survival is possible, offering new hope to all who live in the shadow of the atomic age.